do have another question. Another response I've gotten from other people is that people are trying to pass it off as a class war instead of a race war.
Yeah, that's Marxist bullshit. It's part of that's Marxist white supremacy. That's what that is. And I heard that. I heard that since the 60s. It's a class. I read Marx. I read Communist Manifesto. I read Das Kapital and all that. That's from a white point of view. That's an issue of what was going on in Europe. And they're trying to, in the same way, oh, you guys had gods and you're god of this. It wasn't about gods. They're trying to bring their whole class struggle of Europe and bring it over here. It's not about class struggle. It's about white supremacy. It's about racism. It's about the stealing of our lands. It's ongoing colonialism. But how many people are going to understand that?
But how do we explain to the people about the class? It's not a class struggle.
The problem is, if you're somebody who insists on class struggle and Che y hasta la victoria, those people, they're never going to change. Ya están encabronados con Che and con Marxism. They will not change. Tell you from a 60-year-old guy who's been dealing with hardcore Marxists. They're not really interested in facts. It's just Marxist dogma. They're more interested in convincing you. Because you can explain to them, you can show them pictures, you can show them proof and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, but that doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is, with some people, facts don't matter. Because they're so brainwashed, whether it's Marxism or it's capitalism. They're both white supremacist notions that have nothing to do with our people. And this whole thing about class struggle and Marxist was a racist. Read Marx. I've actually read Marx. You know what? I've actually read the Bible. Yeah. I'm one of those fanatical people that wanted to know. I read the Bible multiple. There's a lot of ugly things in the Bible. Some ugly things in what Marx read. I'm talking beyond Communist Manifesto. He was a fucking racist.
How was he a racist?
I'll give you one example. The Mexican-American War, during which time Karl Marx was alive. And he basically said, it's good that the Americans took it because those Indians weren't doing very much with that land anyway.
Oh, fuck Marx.
Uh,
And I said that because, unfortunately, I was starting to get lured into that
yeah.
Che Guevara with all that stuff. And, you know, now that I'm hearing this, it's totally the opposite of what he really represents for our people.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but to put things in better context. Yeah, no, hey, no. That's what I want, actually, with your reaction. You know, that's what they nomás, you know, we have to get into this. You know what, it's like the thing about that they say, oh, well, anger doesn't bring anything. You know what, even people like Mother Teresa and Gandhi, guess what was motivating them? Fucking anger. That's what got them. You got even Martin Luther King, yeah, he looks all calm and all that. He was fucking angry. You know, okay, then when it gets down to Malcolm X, que calmadito, ¿verdad, el señor? Okay. So you have to be aware, you know, that's all about hate. Yeah, you know what? I hate injustice. I hate racism. I hate the condition that my people are in. I hate all the monstrosities that Europeans have done to me and to my people and continue to do to us. I really, really hate that shit. Because normally what we're talking about racist hate. See, racist hate becomes hate. If you hate, you're bad. It's a class struggle. It's not about colonialism. See, this is all about actually being educated a little bit even beyond Nican Tlaca and us. You have to be educated in general. And that's why they make it very difficult for us to even have a dialogue back and forth to strengthen ourselves. because estábamos aquí llenos de pendejadas. Of the Marxist shit, of the capitalist shit, the white supremacist shit. Lo que te dijo tu abuelita, you know, was she an evil person? No, she was, well, mijo, I'm going to pass you on pendejadas that I was taught. That's not what she was thinking. Again, lots of the worst racism I've ever heard has come from our own people. More bluntly, I've heard from my own family. I've never heard anything as ugly from white supremacists. So it's a lot of different things, yeah. So yeah, you have to watch out with the Marxist stuff. Believe me, like what Karl Marx was writing about, he did that from basically doing research on our societies. Because he looked at Europe and said, man, this is fucked up with all these kings and all this, and they're just dictatorships is all they are. There's got to be another way to do this. We got to have a different way to have government. We have to have some justice for white people. That's what he was planning. And he investigated everything, and he came up with Marxism, or with him and Engels, actually, but he gets most of the credit. And what ended up, you know what? Let's be fair. If it wasn't for Karl Marx, we wouldn't have Social Security. We wouldn't have the 40-hour week. We would still have children working in factories. I can go on and tell you, I'll be fair. Give the Marxists their credit. They made the world better. That's why I have been a Marxist sympathizer. I've never been a Marxist because certain things never worked logically, and I knew the history behind it. But I've worked, and I still work with some white Marxists. But when our people become white Marxists, they become white Marxists themselves, and they become white supremacists.
Last week, I think Jessica was there. I asked Marilena from Univision, like how come Univision always tells our people that Spain is a mother country, and she goes, because it is. And I'm like, well, I'm an eyewitness. Is it for me too? She goes like this. She's like, but this is like kind of like this racist look, like yes, like saying you're the slave.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what she means. She means it is a mother country. Tu madre que te ordena, the one that tells you everything, and that's where you get your culture from. That's where you're going to be. That's your origins. There is nothing else.
And then later on, me and Cuauhtemoc confronted that it was like a full-blood looking reporter from Univision. We asked him, how come Univision promotes Spain as a mother country? And he acted stupid. He acted like he didn't know what I was talking about. He goes, "¿Qué estás hablando? I don't know." I'm like, well, what's your opinion about that? He goes, "Oh, I have no comment. I have no comment."
No, as far as this whole media thing, there are some of the people who are aware of what we're talking about, but they can't speak about it because it won't be published. It won't go on the air if they were to actually speak that truth. It becomes a big problem for them because they will lose their jobs. So it's not like, oh, well, yeah, you're exaggerating. You won't lose your job. No, they will. There have been people who've lost their jobs. You remember the situation we had a few years back with Eddie Olmos and L'Opinion, where they actually did publish some things, and they got something published, but it turned into a whole big disaster for whoever was involved in that with L'Opinion. It's too long to get into, but that was one example of somebody who had the courage to print some of this material. So I don't know if there was anything else. Okay, you had a question earlier, yeah.
When I was in UC Davis and doing a historical seminar, I was doing research. I was looking at published marriage records, and all the time you'd see that the rates, the ethnic groups with the lowest rate of intermarrying with other cultures were always Criollos, were always Spaniards. There's a book of John K. Chance, it's like something, it's like Race and Class in colonial Mexico City, and he shows you right there that these Spaniards supposedly love to mix, that they were just coming here to mix with the natives, not to destroy them, that they hardly ever intermarried. But I mean, the historical record shows it was through concubinage, it was through rape, it was through prostitution. It was very rarely through
Actual marriage.
right through Spanish men seeing themselves as being equal with Indian people and joining with them as in an equal relationship. It was always almost always relationships where it was unequal. It was Spanish men viewing themselves as superior and using indigenous women as their own prostitutes, as their own sex slaves.
Yeah. Well, it's like even in Mexico. This is the one I know a lot of. There is a criollo little group, and you go to Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, and you go to the richest neighborhoods, you're going to have actual whites, white supremacists, as a matter of fact. And what they do when they marry, they check out, because somebody can look totally Nordic looking and whatever, and turns out that he's got a brother that looks full-blood Nican Tlaca, and they don't like that. So they investigate each other's when they're going to get married. There's a whole thing. They want to meet your family, not just your mom and dad. They want to meet all the relatives. That's their little keeping it pure white. That's a very, very public thing in Mexico.
But they're supposed to love race mixing, right? They're supposed to have been the...
No, that's for us. That's for us. That's for us to think that way. It's not for amongst them. They know that in order to keep their wealth, they have to keep it white, pure white.